Well, hello, Lee Douglas. How are we?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm well. The sun was shining today, and honestly, the difference that's made in my mental health is
Astonishing.
astonishing, I think is the word. It's been glorious. Wall-to-wall sunshine. Who'd have thought that's all I just needed to see grass and the sky.
Yeah, truly. Welcome to Queer Gals Watch, The West Wing. We're here to watch Season 4, Episode 5, Debate Camp. And Fi, it's such a corker of an episode. I feel like we should just dive right into it.
100%, because I don't know about you, Lee, but I have things to discuss.
There is so much to discuss. And I can't believe that our dear listeners, you spoiled none of this for us.
I'm really glad that you've started the episode with this, because I think I just have to start with a vote of thanks.
Yeah.
To all of you out there who didn't mention any of the plot lines from this episode.
Andrea who?
Ex-wives all over the place.
Galore.
Shall we?
Let's go to debate camp, Fi.
I'm really excited. So our previously on for this episode, we're going in for the whole hog on the debates.
This is what I've been asking for. This is what I've been asking for weeks.
We've got one shot with these debates.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what we wanted was a little kind of holiday camp-esque vibe.
Yes.
And it's being given to us immediately.
In spades.
Yeah, we're straight into debate planning. Mm-hmm. We're straight into Sam role-playing as Governor Ritchie.
Yes. Quite a big responsibility for Sam.
We wouldn't have seen this in an earlier season.
No, he wouldn't be given that job. It would be somebody else.
It would be Toby, I think, or Josh.
Toby wouldn't be able to make the opposition's arguments without getting personally upset by it.
That's so true. That's so on point. Obviously, Jed immediately is riled and just says, "Bite me."
Mm-hmm.
Now, "bite me" isn't a phrase that exists in the UK. I don't know how I feel about "bite me."
I will say there is an Avril Lavigne song with that title that I do really enjoy.
Yeah, let's not use the Lord's name in vain. Sorry, what was that, Lee?
That's how the song opens, no?
It's like, yeah, it does, but it's like she's in the room with us. CJ's dressed down. She's in her glasses and a plaid shirt.
It's giving the First Lady in Independence Day. It's giving Laura Dern in Jurassic Park.
Two titans of female casting, I believe. And Lee, who else is there?
Andy is there.
And who else is there?
Joey is there.
We are blessed.
We have officially assembled the Avengers for this re-election campaign. And I also love how many women are in the room. I think this is the most women that have ever been in the room where it happens.
And I think this is big props to the Bartlett administration to be like, we are going to get the toughest bitches in Washington. And they're coming to debate camp. Very excited.
Which I know this is pre-Obama, but I feel like that is kind of the course the Obama administration took, and that it started out very boy. And then he grew to have more and more women as time went on.
Yeah. I was thoroughly enjoying Sam doing a bit where he did an impression of Jed. And I will say that Rob Lowe's Martin Sheen impression is really good.
It's really good.
Like, even the taking off of the glasses was so on point. But we can't jest for too long, Lee, because Leo has arrived with bad news, obviously. Update on the kind of Kumari problem is that Israel have now attacked Kumar.
It's crazy. When you think about the fact that Jed is basically in the equivalent of tech.
Yeah.
But he also has to solve an international crisis. Like, he has to keep both of those things in his head at the same time.
Yeah. It's very much like being in tech and then a producer coming in being like, so the stage is here to do an interview, and you being like, I can't right now.
I think it's more like being in tech and then getting some information that there's an archaeological dig in the middle of your set.
Which has indeed happened to a friend of the pod. And Lee and I think about it all the time.
It was an actual archaeological dig.
Yeah. Production had to be halted because they needed to dig up the building for bones.
For history.
But back to the West Wing. I'd just like to offer up a stunning Jedism, which is, I agreed to be locked up with you people for 48 hours. How much time do I have left?
47 hours, 41 minutes.
Perfect. Stunning smash into credits.
We are 19 minutes in and Jed has already said, bite me.
Leigh, as we come out of credits, I don't know about you, but did you notice a little guest starring?
I did. And I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Are we having like a Kathy at the window moment? What's happening?
Catherine Jewston? Mrs. Landingham? Are we having another ghost returning moment? Do I dare dream?
In a storm?
In a storm, perhaps, because we know Aaron loves a storm. Jed's really on one in this episode. I mean, you can kind of tell that the stress is really coming through because we go to the secure room, in inverted commas, with Leo, and it's just some sort of barn with a drum kit in it.
Mental. I do feel like the problem is being president, more than a full-time job. Running for president, also a full-time job.
Yeah. You couldn't pay me.
You literally couldn't. I don't want to make those decisions.
No.
I don't want to be responsible for any of the things Jed is responsible for.
Am I competitive? Do I like to be in control? Am I a textbook Virgo? Yes. Do I want to be the leader of the free world? No. Just give me a small kind of
manageable task.
Stunning. And I will honestly half kill myself doing it. So Jed is responding to the possibility of maybe going to war with lots of sass and lots of deflection. Case in point, well, we've made camp in North Carolina for prep, so I've been thinking a lot about killing myself.
I actually loved that for Jed.
Me too. There's a level of campery when he is like this, which I love.
Normally kind of co-sign on jokes of this ilk.
Agreed.
But on this occasion, I enjoyed it too much. I had to allow.
And when it was followed up with, honey, if we're going to have this fight, can we not do it in front of the Joint Chiefs? It just scares the head out of them.
We're at a new stage in the Leo Bartlett marriage, for sure.
For sure. And I think at this point it is that Jed is fully Katharine Hepburn and Leo is some sort of kind of like curmudgeonly male actor of that period.
Spencer Tracy.
Oh, yeah, I'd love that for him. Yeah, great. But Leigh, meanwhile, with Toby and Andy.
So, most importantly, Andy looks incredible. She's wearing like an olivey gold turtleneck with a tan blazer and black slacks. And she also has, I'm going to say, what is the best of the 2000s fringes.
She's got a really good haircut for the time. And then the news is that Toby and Andy are trying to get married again?
Toby is very much trying to marry Andy again.
Yeah.
Andy really isn't giving him the time of day. She's like, I'm trying to prep the president of the United States for his presidential debate.
Yeah, and so like Josh and Sam have like taken Toby to one side and are like, what? And I would second that. Yeah. Because what's happened? What have we missed?
We've missed something here. Aaron Sorkin absolutely loves to just not give us the crucial missing link.
Well, it's the rom-com writer in him, right? Okay, fill us in on everything you got so far between the two of you. Yeah, me too.
Fill us in. Fill the viewer in. But I also do love that, like, Josh is so ready to dish.
Honestly, I think in terms of male friendship, if you were like going through something with your relationship, I'd hate to say it, but I think I would want to hang out with Josh and Sam.
Yeah.
I do think between the two of them, you're kind of getting a pretty good spread of advice.
I would agree. Especially if you're someone who dates men.
Yes.
For like a masculine take.
Yeah. Leigh, I think you've nailed it. I honestly feel like I could talk about this in great depth, but we are going to have to go into a flashback.
Yes. Just a brief side note to say that Josh is also dressed down in this episode and looks incredible. He's wearing like a deep brown cord shirt with a white tee underneath and like 501s. And I do love that Toby, meanwhile, is absolutely committed to wearing the full suit.
He's a city boy and he won't relax. Shall we go to flashback?
Yep, CJ's hair. Why must they do this every time? I understand that it's a flashback. You don't need to give CJ the crazy hair every single time.
So what's crazy is in season 1 of this show, Alison Janney was given a mob wife blowout that was insane. And in the flashback that we're seeing here, which is basically like the first moments of the administration, it's like she's given herself a home perm.
I don't know why we couldn't just allow season 1 to be like a weird thing she was trying.
Yeah.
Rather than how her hair has been her entire life prior to season 2.
Yeah. So what we were kind of testing Jed on at the start of the episode were some questions surrounding someone called Congressman Rooker, who we didn't know anything about. And it seems like these flashbacks are our way of understanding this. All we know so far is that Congressman Rooker had a bad stance on affirmative action, question mark. That's kind of where we're at. But the more interesting information Lee, is about Toby's marriage.
Yes, because we're learning how recent the divorce was.
Yeah.
They were still married in January before Jed was inaugurated.
Which I didn't see because I saw it as like a long-term divorce. Like we're like 4 years out.
I agree. But so we now have a situation where in Jed's main team, Josh lost to his father during the campaign.
Yeah.
And Toby also in the transition got divorced.
Wild. Really, honestly, like, that's a lot. That's so much.
It's so much. We'll get into it more. But just a small aside to say that they've also done something weird with Donna's hair to make sure that we know that we're in flashback.
Yeah, which they don't do with the men's hair, and that irks me. Speaking of Donna, there's some fun nonsense in this episode. So she's getting shown around the West Wing by her predecessor, who, by the way, is kind of weird. Like, it seems like it's nice, but also he kind of seems like kind of an asshole. And then he makes a comment about like the way that she looks and like, oh, you'll do well here because you're so like young and attractive. And because you're so young, like you should do an interview for my girlfriend in her magazine. And I did log to myself, Lee.
Yeah.
That may be a red flag.
Because we're also getting the vibe that Jed's predecessor was a Republican. Like, I feel like this man is across the aisle. And while he is creepy and weird, it's a very realistic creepy and weird for me. Like, I feel like I've had
stunningly.
I've had this weird first day on a temping job with the guy showing me around. Do you know what I mean?
100%. We will come back to this storyline later because it really progresses in a sensational way. But we're flashing back now with Toby and Andy.
I can't even.
And a storyline, Lee, that I did not expect.
Just a storyline that absolutely sideswiped me, Fee, in a manner in which I was not prepared for.
No, because I think we'd always logged for ourselves that it was pressure from work. It was the administration and that, you know, she was in Congress and just things were difficult. We were missing each other.
Which makes complete sense to me. That's what we
thought.
Because having those too big of a careers in one marriage, you can see how that would break a couple up.
Yeah.
Because, like, whose work thing is taking priority here? Like, who's keeping the house together if, like, both of you have such intense careers?
Yeah. But no, it's a fertility storyline.
It's so much more devastating than I ever could have imagined. What I will say is, just to completely undercut the emotional depth of this storyline, Toby is very specific when he's discussing about going to the fertility clinic. He specifically brings up an 84-year-old Welsh nurse. The Welsh is so specific. How many Welsh nurses are there in Washington, D.C., I would hasten to add, specifically of a kind of elderly variety?
Yeah. I really enjoyed him being like, these are the reasons why I don't want to go and give another sample. I really enjoyed, first of all, I think it was really well directed because Toby's kind of reaction was really funny and really detailed. But the cutaways to Andy were very much, it felt like we as the audience were supposed to kind of take that on as like, do you know what, Toby, that's fine. It's not really the main crux of this isn't really on you. I do think it was balanced very well.
I agree.
I was cut to my core by Toby saying, "It's January 15th, Andy. I can't have a baby today." And I was like, oh, your marriage is over.
Yeah.
Tough.
It's the fact that he knows exactly earlier in the episode what day a specific thing happened, because it means that he has thought about this conversation and the fact that he said that about it being January 15th on January 15th. And he's obsessed over it for 4 years. And that's why he still knows the date. And that is also devastating. Are you choking? Is everything okay?
Leigh, you explained that so passionately that I leant back in my chair in horror and my headphones fell from my head and disconnected from my laptop.
I was unsure as to whether you were choking because you'd also just taken a sip of water.
Honestly, I was very moved in lots of different directions. This is where I get absolutely skewered by Toby Ziegler as a character.
Richard Schiff, get out of my face.
Get away from me. Get away. Should we distract ourselves with some stunning 2000s graphics from Joey?
Oh my God. The woman never comes unprepared. Do you know what I mean?
No.
She has visual aids. She has visual motherfucking aids.
I love that. Because the thing is, I personally am a visual learner.
Same.
So I need that. And so I say, I thank you, Joey and Kenny. Now, fun bit of information from this scene was, we're going to lose New Hampshire.
That is new information.
Right? And I do not think Jed has mentally prepared for this.
Jed is not well. There's no way that Jed is well spiritually about this.
I think this is such a great episode so far because we're really getting our teeth into the campaign. And I think it's great to see the team working these answers in real time. And also, we aren't underestimating Richie anymore.
No.
There was a period of time where it was like, oh, you know, old Richie, old Governor Richie. And now we're like, no, I think he's onto something. And that is, mwah, chef's kiss.
Absolutely. And there's a point where Jed starts giving an answer and it's going really well. And then he says one thing and the team all interrupt him and go like, we just lost the votes of every stay-at-home mom and their husbands who are henpecked. Yeah. And I was like, debate prep would be my own personal hell.
Yeah.
Trying to like speak passionately on the fly and confidently while all of my own people interrupt me to tell me why the public will hate me if I say that.
Yeah, like, oh, here's all the reasons why we'll pull you apart for that. I am in hook, line, and sinker. This is a top tier episode for me personally.
Agreed.
Would you like to away to a CJ flashback?
Please.
So we're going back in time again. To CJ just rehearsing her first press briefing.
I cannot imagine doing that for the first time.
I think my adrenaline I would be physically vibrating the first time I had to do that. You have to be so brave.
Going out and doing stand-up is one thing. I get to prep it. Nobody's asking me questions after. And ultimately, it's stupid at the end of the day. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Having to be like prepared for any possible, I mean, we talked about this when we did the Jen Psaki study session, but just like, I am in awe of anyone who's ever done this job.
100%. And I think it's very important that they dressed her in a hideous blouse.
Because she's not found her like look as press secretary yet. She doesn't feel comfortable.
You can see her being like, I guess this is what I should wear.
Yeah.
Carol is there
is it
supporting.
Carol's first appearance of the season? Hey, Carol.
If it is, we've missed you.
Yeah.
More Carol, please, frankly. She is interrupted by a sort of random evangelical man. And the question I have is, how did this man get into the White House?
I think he like is somehow to do with specifically evangelical press.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes more sense. All right. He then makes some comments about Rooker. And I feel like this is where we're like getting on the money with this situation, because he says, oh, he's the first African-American man to make any sense on racial profiling. Ooh. Okay. Controversy unlocked. But although this was a very important storyline throughout this episode, I have to say, Leigh, I was consistently distracted by all the flashbacks. We cut from that to Dolores Landingham, and I'm sorry, at that point I was gone.
The transition is like another fascinating thing to look at, but like I would be obsessed with a full episode about the transition and a full episode about debate prep. It kind of felt like there was 2 episodes going on at the same time.
Yeah.
It was just too much. Because I honestly would watch a full episode that was just like the Bartlett transition.
Yeah, the first week.
Yeah.
100%. Because you wrote something really interesting in the shared doc when you were like, oh, this is when you actually think about all the learning involved in CJ getting good at her job. And that is so fascinating because when we see her having her wobble like halfway through the term, you're like, oh my God, but all the strides you made to get to where that point was. No wonder it's so exhausting and so emotionally like depleting.
Yeah.
It's really a really, really great concept for an episode, like going back to those first few days. And this ties into Dolores because I loved this scene because it was so weird. So we're in the Oval, we're with Jed, we're with Dolores, and there's nothing in there. Like there's no paintings on the wall, there's nothing on the desk.
It's not gold.
It's not gold. And I was like, oh my God, I guess you get to dress up the White House, which is fun and should be taken very seriously and not frivolously, some might say. Would you like to be Mrs. Landingham or would you like to be Jed?
You know I love your Bartlett.
Okay. What are we doing right now?
We're choosing pictures for the collection at the National Gallery.
The loan stuff?
Anything you want in the National Gallery or the whole Smithsonian.
Really?
Yeah.
I want Apollo 11.
Well, you can't have that.
Then don't bother me.
Again, we're making reference to Jed's obsession with astronauts.
As his wife says, he's like, doesn't like heights and is also very claustrophobic. But I could have been an astronaut. It's very fun. I think another thing that Jed says in this scene is, could everyone stop acting strange? which I really like because there must be so much of that in that first week or so of just being like, I don't know where I'm going. Also, I'm like in the Oval Office.
Yeah.
Like when everything's still fresh and new.
Also, a workplace in which every single person is a new starter all at one time.
Oh my God.
Crazy.
Do you want to have a really harsh cut to Amy cycling?
Yes, and I feel quite passionately about Amy's cycling ensemble.
Please, tell me your thoughts, your feelings. The sunglasses, the bandana.
I really respect that it is a serious sporting outfit. She has not put this outfit on to look cute. She has not put this outfit on to be seen at the gym, which there is no problem with that. Yeah. I support fashion in all turns, but I do respect that it's not a gym bunny outfit. It's like I'm going to play my fun game where I pretend that I'm in the Tour de France.
I'm falling more and more in love with Amy every episode because I really rate that someone's trying to have quite a serious conversation with her and she's like, no, but I'm doing my bit where I'm pretending I'm in the Tour de France.
I'm obsessed with it. And my question to you, Fi, is because ultimately, Josh has had to call her because they don't have an answer. They don't have messaging about a particular question. If Sam gets promoted, does Amy become the new Sam?
Ooh, I think she would be brilliant in communications. The thing is, in a post-Mandy world, does it feel too risky to bring the ex-girlfriend into the fold? Because I just wish almost... I'm so sorry to Mandy lovers out there. I wish Mandy hadn't existed because I feel the ghost of Mandy all the time.
And my question to you is, do Mandy lovers exist?
Well, I think if they do, I would judge them. There, I said it.
It's so tough because there were so many good ingredients to Mandy and just the chemistry of it did not work.
Yeah, the bake came out all wrong, honestly. So many good ingredients. It failed to rise in the oven.
It did, yeah. It's so tough.
Should we find the lost boys?
Oh my God. I'm obsessed with Aaron Sorkin in-joking himself within his own scripts. The fact that by this point, we're in season 4, the West Wing is known for walk and talks. That's like the thing that he has come up with as like a signature is the walk and talk. And then Josh and Sam are having a conversation lost in the White House. Do you mind if I talk while we walk?
Well, we may as well have to get used to having meetings in the corridors from now on. It may be our only hope.
I love it when Aaron gets meta.
Me too. This does feel very on brand for like 5 days post-inauguration because I do think it would take you a full week to know where stuff is. I would love a little moment, a little applause perhaps for the man, I feel like a man of it all, when Josh Lyman just walks into a corridor and it's like to a group of people who are all working, "Hi, I'm Josh Lyman. You all work for me."
I would love to have that confidence just for half an hour.
Honestly.
The things I would do.
What I could get done.
But then we follow it up by a topper of a man, I feel like a man with Ginger walking past and them referring to her as that one.
I know.
One of the women.
Who like keeps you guys like sane, prepped, fed, watered, organized.
Because by that one, you are differentiating her from the other women in the assistant pool. Because men are individuals to you. You can differentiate men from each other.
It's very funny. So our little Congressman Rooker storyline update. They were going to confirm him as the Attorney General. They were sort of doing the vetting process. It's during this vetting process that his opinions on affirmative action came up. And then it kind of feels like the group is split as to whether or not they want to confirm him.
Yes.
I personally feel like there's red flags all over the place and we got to pull out.
Yeah.
Leigh. Toby Ziegler understandably has lost his mind, both personally in his private life and also just in his first week at work. And a phrase is used that is so perfect in my opinion. Toby's gone to the zoo.
It rivals unspooling for me. Yes. I think when you fully unspool, you've gone to the zoo.
Yeah, 100%.
You've unspooled, it's happened. You've gone to the zoo.
You're now just at the zoo. And I am just putting this in the top pocket now for when someone in my life has lost the plot. Yeah. Sorry, Leigh is just, she's gone to the zoo. Yeah, perfect. Also, I'm so glad you noted it. There's 2 other moments around this time in the episode. Sam Seaborn says a crazy thing, which also I feel that we should all say more.
He says, "I beseech you," but in like an everyday, non-formal conversation. Yeah. I'm obsessed that Sam managed to, it's almost as if he was dared to work in "I beseech you" into a suitable context in a meeting.
So good. Donna did the interview with her predecessor's girlfriend for this sort of teen magazine. And essentially this dude like fed her a bunch of lies about there being like missiles under the putting green or whatever. And her response when Josh is like, what the hell have you done? Is just to go, "I'm too stupid to live." Which I think is very funny in sort of like a woe is me way.
It's very good.
You know, because we've all been there, right? When you've been like, when you're like, I have just done something so unspeakably idiotic.
I mean, literally a month ago, when I somehow managed to get rid of my high school diploma. My mom will panic if she hears this. Jen, if you're listening, stop listening. She doesn't listen to this podcast. It's fine. My high school diploma and my university diploma, just gone.
And I would say that in that moment, you'd gone to the zoo.
I'd gone to the zoo and I was too stupid to live.
Yeah.
I will just also say Aaron Sorkin has way too much fun writing fake headlines about his own characters.
He does, doesn't he?
This is Josh in response to Donna saying that she's too stupid to live. He looks at his friend and co-worker Donna, who is unspooling, and about to go to the zoo. And he says, this is just like when I played the lead in Little Abner in 8th grade and rehearsals were going fine. And all of a sudden there's sets and lights and costumes and everyone's tripping all over themselves except me. You guys all walked into the building and got freaked by the lights. I walked in and something else happened.
Oh, Josh, come on now. You just walked into a room of people and said, you all work for me. I don't know that this is like...
Your first day working in the White House, I don't know that there's ever an appropriate context to, in a self-aggrandizing way, bring up a production you were in as an actor in the 8th grade.
How old are you in 8th grade?
14.
Oh, good God. Speaking of chuckles... I personally am out of my mind at Charlie muscling in on everyone's discussion of Toby's love life.
I'm obsessed with the idea that Charlie has heard word that Toby has what my auntie once referred to as affairs of the heart going on.
Stunning.
And he has been like, my boy needs me. I'm dead. I'm obsessed.
Because this is about love.
I think you have a different motivation.
Laughs?
Yes.
Sure, but also as much love, really, as I think either one of us is comfortable with.
And then Toby just walks away by saying, this is excruciating.
But what's so nice is like, as the kind of Eeyore of the gang, all Toby wants is for people to voice that they're thinking of him.
Yeah.
Whether or not he can engage with that is another thing. But he loves to be loved.
He does.
We know that. And this is just Charlie being like, hey, bud, she's a real knockout. You know, maybe you should just go for it.
I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Like, I could see myself marrying Toby Ziegler. Do you know what I mean?
In a kind of, so shag, marry, kill, Toby, Sam, Josh.
Oh, God.
I don't know how I would answer this either.
I'm going to have to do something that I don't want to do.
I mean, as a lesbian lead, this is none of this is anything you want to do.
I'm going to have to kill Sam Seaborn.
Wow, you'd shag Josh.
I would. For the story, you know?
I would. Do you know what? I would.
But I would marry Toby Ziegler every day of the week.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah. Also, and I'm willing to check back in about this as time goes on, but I am finding myself increasingly attracted to Richard Schiff as this show continues.
Hey, now you're speaking my language. Because if this little bisexual girl's got a type, it is weird men. Beautiful women, strange men.
But should we go to like a devastating flashback of him?
Yeah, I honestly, this fertility storyline is knocking me down. So we have another scene with Toby and Andy where Andrea's like, this information. And Toby is being, I think, actually a very supportive partner.
Yeah.
And he's like, I think we need to talk about whether or not there's a stop date. And I do think that's also very forward thinking for 2002.
Yeah.
For like a male character to be like, this process takes a physical toll on you, my partner. And I just want you to know that I'm wondering whether or not there's a point at which your body needs to take a break from this.
Or just emotionally, we both need to decide on a date when we're going to start like grieving this and making our peace with it potentially not happening.
Yeah. And then he does say like, I'm like so open to adopting. And just Andrea's performance is so devastating in this. It's so beautiful. And they are just two powerhouse actors in this moment. It's such a small little scene.
She is impeccably cast. Impeccably cast. I'm obsessed with her.
And she also, again, I don't want to undermine it, but she looks amazing.
She's in a green suit.
Incredible suit.
It's so
and her
gorgeous.
Coat, like this, like a long, like ankle length coat. Her hair is perfect.
And then like CJ walks into his office as Andy is leaving and just like completely comes in with a completely different energy because she's not been part of the moment that we just witnessed. And then Toby just says, I just said a stupid thing. And then just goes, oh, it doesn't matter.
My heart broke.
That was a real smoothing of the bedspread moment for me.
Yeah, like guess I can't talk about things like this anymore because we have to run the country. It is dinner time at debate camp.
And Sam Seaborn is singing in Latin.
I was confused by this, but I assume it must be like an American college thing that I don't understand.
Apparently, I think he goes on to say that it's a camp song, but I do need everyone to really come back to the fact that the lyrics translate as, "Let us be merry, therefore, while we are young men."
Stunning. I also like the idea that if it's a camp song, it probably meant that Sam went to Latin camp. So just going to put a little pin in a storyline from a previous episode, which is Sam being like, why don't we invest more in areas where we have kind of weak candidates because we don't think we can like flip votes. Because it seems like he might be teaming up with Joey on this.
I love the idea of those two working more closely together, especially because I feel like Joey's role in the show as Josh's love interest has kind of been displaced by Amy coming in last season.
Yeah.
So kind of actually pairing Joey up with Sam in a professional context is very fun as a concept to me.
Yeah, so I look forward to that bearing fruit. Meanwhile, Josh is calling Amy while she's on a date with another man.
And of course, he's timed it to be sure that it will actually interrupt her date. But as you say, Amy's energy on her date is outrageous.
Unbelievable. She's like leant back in her chair like no one's ever sat in a chair before.
She could not be more leant back in her chair.
She's like, the autumnal equinox is usually good to me. And you're like, what the fuck does that mean, you crazy bitch?
I know exactly the emotional space that Amy is in on this date. I know exactly the emotional space because it's a classic of the genre of My Single Days. When I had decided within the first 5 minutes of a date that there was absolutely no future with this person. We were fundamentally incompatible. There was zero interest there. And I would simply begin to try and out-weird them as the date would continue.
What a beautiful tactic.
Just to see if I could kind of prompt anything interesting into happening.
And the answer was, that never happened.
No.
These men had nothing to say, did they?
No. And also one woman who was so hungover that she gagged on the first sip of her pint.
Oh, no. That's dark.
Cancel. Please cancel. You know what I mean?
just if you're not
reschedule.
Up to it, please, let's reschedule. Are you on your date?
Well, I wouldn't call it that.
Listen, you probably don't want to let him know it's me on the phone. It's too intimidating. It's like going out with Cher and Sunny calls.
How can I help you?
Any thoughts?
Yes, Richie's right. There's a family crisis in America.
So a radical feminist is saying women should stay at home with the kids?
First of all, I don't think I'm a radical anything. Second of all, who said women should stay home? And third is it's the capitalist treadmill that's encouraging scheduling quality time on a Palm Pilot. That's not how they do it in Scandinavia.
But everyone kills themselves in Scandinavia.
That's hard to deny.
Their chemistry's off the charts. Here's to Josh referencing Sunny and Cher, quite honestly.
With himself as Sunny in that scenario, which I love.
Yeah.
And also, I think it really rang true for me when Amy was like, I don't think I'm a radical anything. I feel like you and I have both had the experience of like professing a feminist viewpoint one time and then people going, oh my God, she's such a radical feminist.
Wow.
Or I had an opinion.
Or I had an opinion that I formed by reading some things and thinking about it a bit. Christ. Now, I want to move on to a lovely culmination of nonsense. So we have a flashback to Josh. So this is kind of post Donna doing her terrible interview and talking about nuclear warheads. So the NSA arrive and are like, look, we need to talk to you about your assistant. She needs to take some time off because we need to investigate her because some of the things that she was talking about may or may not be true.
Josh then says that he could vouch for Donna with his life. He's known her 6 months at this point.
He also says something very funny, which is, she doesn't know about missiles. She's from Wisconsin.
It's an incredible line.
More on this storyline later. But back to our little war room. And more sass and kind of deflection from Jed. Is it carrying Kumari arts and crafts?
No, it's carrying 72 tons of weapons and explosives, including a multiple launch rocket system.
No, things are not going well.
No.
I feel like Jed and Leo are drifting apart on this.
It's so incredibly sad.
It's one of two ways, which is Jed is never going to forgive Leo for pushing him into war.
Mm-hmm.
Or Leo is never going to forgive himself for feeling like he pushed Jed into war.
Jed has a wall up with Leo.
Yeah. Something's changed.
Yeah. Something has
changed. Something is not the same.
He's through with playing by the rules of other people's game. He just wants to let Bartlett be Bartlett at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And ultimately, he's a Quaker pacifist, masquerading as a Catholic.
Honestly, the man wanted to be a priest. Flashback.
Mm-hmm.
We've officially dropped Rooker, which I feel is the right call.
Mm-hmm.
And we're having a check-in with the team, like a week into the job.
Mm-hmm.
I will read out Leah McGarry's take.
Mm-hmm.
Not quite. Our report card for our first 2 weeks in office. The president's approval has gone from 61% during the transition when, I suppose, there's nothing to approve, to 49% once there was. 47% see him as a strong leader, a result of bungling the Rooker nomination. And African-American support, which basically elected him, has gone from 92 to 78. Finally, if the election were held today, the president would be chairman of the economics department at Phillips Andover Academy. Can anyone report anything good?
600,000 evangelicals are praying for me. So we have that going for us. Why is CJ dressed like she's going to a funeral?
I don't know. I just would love to have been a fly on the wall with Alison Janney when she was like, and this is what you're choosing for the episode? Okay, sure.
Yeah, crazy.
It's a tough first 2 weeks.
I love the idea, though, that like something as small ultimately as bungling a nomination for Attorney General could impact public opinion and even really be a news story for more than 10 minutes.
What a world, Leigh. Wouldn't you just love to go back there? Because right now, we're in cloud cuckoo land.
We are.
Present day, 2026.
We are.
Where you're like, God, I would love to read a news story about whether or not someone should be Attorney General.
That sounds
I would actually love that as a news story.
Quite a zen, calm world.
Yeah.
But you know who else is in cloud cuckoo land? Josh Lyman.
Yeah, oh, this is so good. And also props to Donna.
Mm-hmm.
So turns out the NSA guy was just someone Donna knew. And it was all a practical joke.
Oh, it's so good.
And she got Josh 100%.
Proud of her.
Yeah, standing ovation.
Mm-hmm.
But speaking of Josh, he then continues to phone Amy.
Because they are in the toxic we're still best friends phase.
Yeah.
Which is so dark.
But what I would say is just hire Amy.
Yeah. Please. She's a genius.
We can't keep calling her and taking her hot takes and then not helping her with her career.
No.
And if Stackhouse is out of the running, she's free as a bird.
Yeah. Hire her.
But this is how we end the episode. And one of the greatest things that's never been spoiled for us. Why don't you just do your job as a man and get that nice girl pregnant?
I did.
Wait, what?
Andy's pregnant.
Toby, Andy's pregnant?
With twins.
This is incredible. And they're yours?
Yeah.
Both of them? I was gone. I'd exited the building emotionally and spiritually.
Myself. I'd gone to the zoo, Fiona.
I was in the zoo ready to greet you. What an ending for the episode.
Alison Janney's face through this scene as well. Mm-hmm. It's just like...
It was so unexpected. I love to be sideswiped.
I was gagged. I was gagged.
You took me on this journey that we weren't going to have children. And that was the reason that we decided to take a break with this marriage. And we weren't together. We were divorced officially. You hit me in present day at the start of this episode with Toby being like, I want to get married. And me thinking, Maybe he's trying to salvage the relationship. Little did I know it's because he'd got her up the duff.
Has Tabitha Fortis reawakened something within him, shifted something for him? No.
He's knocked up his wife.
Toby Ziegler is going to be someone's father.
The dream. I'm assuming that they've continued with fertility treatment outside of their marriage.
That I need explaining because
twins are more common with like IVF.
Yeah, because you can choose to put in 2 embryos. But also like they were in fertility treatment 4 years ago. So did Andy like go back to fertility treatment again without telling him?
Or was like, I want to do this. And he was like, I want you to be happy and I'll help you raise this child. I would just want us to be together if we did it.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where we're at now. It's like, she's like, well, I'm pregnant. And he's like, well, we should get married then.
Mm-hmm. And she's like Rachel greening out, being like, a child isn't a good enough reason to get married.
Truly. And therefore I'm like, hey, love this as a kind of continuing storyline. Also means we get more Andy in our lives.
Yeah.
And we close out the episode with Jed kind of coming back to his usual self with help of Sam Seaborn and being like, okay, let's get our head in the game. Let's practice this thing. And I think the exact phrase was, let's go, Claudia Jean.
Love it.
I also kind of almost was crying at the end of that episode.
Yeah, I know.
But I do think maybe that might have been hormonal for me.
No, Toby Ziegler is going to be a father. And there's so many fun things for Toby Ziegler to spin out over in the course of his ex-wife being pregnant with his twins.
Yeah, Aaron Sorkin, you're a genius.
Also, like, I didn't know you had it in you, Aaron, to give us this storyline. This girly little storyline.
Rom-com genius.
Best fashion for you.
Yeah, into the quick fires. I mean, I think Andy with every single one of her looks.
Agreed. Mostly the green suit.
Really gorgeous. I would like to send CJ's flashback hair to jail.
Yeah.
Straight to jail.
Yeah.
What could a British or Irish politician never get away with?
I think you were correct with what you put down.
My punt here was playing practical jokes and it's somehow not becoming a scandal, because I feel like if someone played a practical joke in UK politics, it would be front page news. Leigh, what was your queerest moment that never meant to be queer?
Toby getting his ex-wife pregnant. There's something very queer about that.
Yeah.
It's very like a village to make a baby vibes, you know?
Yeah, it is. I think my honourable mention here is, honey, if we're going to have this fight, can we not do it in front of the Joint Chiefs? It scares the hell out of them. Jed campery, Jed-based campery for me. And your best writerly moment?
Josh's monologue about his 8th grade play, I think primarily because he is so someone who would still trade off of having been the lead.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. I'm going to throw Toby's Gone to the Zoo in here just for the currency that phrase is going to give me. Man, I feel like a man.
Listen, you probably don't want to let him know it's me on the phone. It's too intimidating. It's like going out with Cher and Sunny calls.
Yeah, I mean, Josh Lyman wins. There's so many lines that he's got in this episode. Another one being, obviously, hi, I'm Josh Lyman. You all work for me. And Leigh, what was the moment that made you proudest to be an American?
Toby getting Andy pregnant.
Yes. No notes.
So today, Fiona, I think we should talk about something I have been wanting to talk about for a long time, which is debate prep.
I am sat. I'm ready. I'm prepared.
Yeah. Because you know that English and Irish politicians are not like giving it the razzle dazzle in the way that American presidential candidates are.
I want a performance.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's a bugbear that I do have with UK politics.
Agreed. The first nationally televised presidential debate was between JFK and Richard Nixon in 1960. And it was in a television studio and there was no live audience. And the kind of lore of that debate is that Nixon was getting better after having been ill. He looked quite clammy. He had a 5 o'clock shadow, but he refused makeup. And Kennedy, meanwhile, wore makeup for the debate and looked like young and fit and vibrant. Also, historians just love to talk about how hot JFK is. Or was. R.I.P.
That's one of the craziest things you've ever said. That's so funny.
They're obsessed with how hot they think he was.
Everyone's like, yeah, but like Loki, like he was fucking like sexy as hell. And you're like, I mean, is that...
To me, he's like art man. Do you know what I mean?
He's like art white man.
Yeah.
He's like art white man of a certain age that's not weird.
If we're going to talk about like someone's sex appeal winning them the presidency...
We're going to talk about Barack Obama.
We are going to talk about Barack Obama every time. Anyway, said as respectfully as possible.
Amazing politician, hot as fuck.
But basically, what was interesting about all of this is that the people who watched it on TV generally felt that JFK had won by a mile, whereas the people who listened to it on the radio felt that it had been much more even.
That's so interesting.
Mm-hmm. It also kind of, the fact that they were even having the debate kind of legitimized JFK because he was much more of a newcomer to Washington politics than Nixon. So it kind of made him feel like he was coming out punching as the underdog. Then there wasn't a presidential debate for 16 years.
That wasn't what I thought you were going to say. That's so funny.
Yeah. Until Jimmy Carter versus Gerald Ford in 1976. Okay. Because as we know, famously, no one knew who Jimmy Carter was. But he was very unexpectedly really gaining in the polls. And President Ford was like, what the hell? Why am I falling behind this nobody? But also he had his own stumbling blocks to overcome because he had only become president because Nixon had resigned. So people didn't even really know who Ford was, even though he was president already. Ford famously made a huge gaffe at this debate. He kind of declared there is no Soviet domination of Eastern Europe and there never will be under a Ford administration. He was saying this in 1976. The moderator, Max Frankel from the New York Times, was like, what? And he literally said, I'm sorry, what? Did I understand you to say, sir, that the Russians are not using Eastern Europe as their own sphere of influence in occupying most of the countries there and making sure with their troops that it's a communist zone?
That's cuckoo.
The American public then understandably went, I don't know that this man knows what he's doing. And Jimmy Carter was elected. But then we had the opposite effect in the next election because it was Jimmy Carter versus Ronald Reagan. Jimmy Carter is a much more academic man. He was really coming at Reagan's history as California governor and was coming with a very detail-oriented approach, whereas Ronald Reagan was Hollywood. So he was, as he was like kind of enduring these long attacks from Jimmy Carter, he just went, there you go again, look to camera, you know, and people loved it and thought he was really charismatic and fun.
And he had a kind of a folksy... kind of, I'm like straight out of a Western type energy.
Yeah, we kind of have Ronald Reagan to thank for the fact that it's like, ooh, if you can get a one-liner in, if you can get a little zinger in and like win the moment, that actually gives more of a lasting impression than a lot of like really detailed criticism of your opponent.
Do we think this is kind of what they're trying to parallel a little bit with Jed and Richie?
I think that's very possible, for sure. In 1988, we finally get the Commission on Presidential Debates, which then became the sponsor for presidential debates through 2022. It's a nonpartisan organization run by people from both sides of the aisle, and they get funding from communities that host debates as well as some corporate money. And basically, the commission will select debate locations after getting bids from various locations across the US, which are it's mostly always a college campus that these things happen at. But if we get into modern era debate prep for a moment, a man called Bob Bauer,
great name,
is Joe Biden's personal attorney. He's also like a top campaign lawyer for the Democratic Party. But he became known much more so in recent years for playing Trump during Joe Biden's mock debates.
Please tell me this footage.
No, it's incredibly secretive.
I mean, for good reason.
So you only ever find out about this stuff like after the fact. No, it's all incredibly closely guarded. When he was asked about it in 2024, he would reflect on 2020, but he wouldn't talk about 2024 debate prep. First of all, let me be clear. I haven't only done Donald Trump debate prep. I've done others in debate prep because he's also done Bernie Sanders. He's done Al Gore. It's like a special talent that he has. And it's a crazy job that is not a job, because often it's somebody from the political world that's kind of volunteering to do it and has been asked to do it, but they're essentially standing in and they have to, like a method actor, study the person that they're being in the debate prep for the candidate to the extent that they are able to come up with and argue the points that that person would likely argue. You really have to get inside the mind of the opposing candidate.
It's so much preparation. Also, you've really got to put your own moral compass on the back burner.
Yeah.
And also not do an impression of that person, but really interrogate what that person believes.
Yeah. Bill Bauer is quoted as saying, you have to immerse yourself in a huge amount of material so that you don't wind up offering an argument that they might conceivably make, but never did. And also, it's kind of your job. You're working for the person who is the candidate, but it's also your job to really rattle them. So that they are actually prepared for a combative experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's asked in 2024 if Biden ever got angry with him during 2020 debate prep. And he said, I would say in all of the debate preps, and whether it was a Trump debate prep or Gore Bradley or others I've done, you cannot be afraid of laying down on the table something that your candidate that you're preparing for this won't like. That could be something that's personally insulting. That's something that can be completely false about policy positions they've taken. You once said, you once voted. I can't believe you did that.
It's so true because, that's where we opened the episode with the bite me moment.
Yeah.
It's because Sam went there.
Yeah, exactly. Some of the kind of debates that were closer in history to 2002 that might kind of be inspiring this moment. Bill Clinton's campaign in 1992 suggested a more relaxed, town hall style format, which you can imagine suited Bill Clinton down to the ground to be like, hey, I'm just a guy from Arkansas.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah.
Solid Bill Clinton impression.
Thank you. But so there was actually 3 presidential candidates on the stage in 1992 because it's the only year that a third-party candidate made it to the debate stage.
Wow.
Ross Perot in that year ended up getting 18.9% of the vote, and you have to be polling at least 15% to be included.
Wow.
It's interesting because he in the end, he seems to have taken an equal number of votes from George H.W. Bush and Clinton. But Mary Matalin, who was George H.W. Bush's campaign director, said that she's convinced that he cost George H.W. Bush his re-election because he got them off message really successfully. I personally feel that a bigger issue was that during that debate in 1992, George H.W. Bush got caught on camera checking his watch while a member of the public was answering a question, which just made him look out of touch and haughty and like he didn't want to be there. But then equally in 2000, when it was George W.'s turn, Al Gore kind of, in his debate against him, kind of suffered from a similar thing in that Al Gore was like sighing loudly as George W. Bush was answering questions. And when George Bush went to cross the stage, Al Gore kind of walked up to him as in a kind of confrontational way. And Bush just kind of like nodded and got a laugh from the crowd, kind of like checked him. Now, to come to our fave, Obama versus Mitt Romney in 2012. Obama said that spending all day prepping for the debate is, quote, a drag. He was quoted as in a phone call with a political volunteer saying during debate prep, they're making me do my homework. They're basically keeping me indoors all the time. although Jay Carney, who was the White House spokesman, and Jen Psaki, who was the campaign press secretary, wouldn't kind of openly discuss Obama's debate prep, they did go on to say that a lot of their debate prep was focused on not letting Obama give long-winded answers. What I found interesting as well, John Kerry was standing in for Romney during Obama's debate prep, which I thought was interesting. Obama was widely felt to have kind of phoned in his first debate against Mitt Romney, which I think is kind of the headspace that Jed is in a way of going like, I'm trying to do the job. Like I can't do the job while I'm prepping for this kind of thing. But Romney then kind of tripped himself up in the end he was talking about gender pay equality, and he said that he had, quote, binders full of women as candidates for cabinet posts.
Oh, God.
Which became a meme.
Yeah. I mean, that's gonna be a meme, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. What I did love as well, we're going to meet in a moment a woman called Karen Dunn, who has essentially prepped every major Democratic presidential candidate for their debates since 2008, but specifically regarding Barack Obama after he kind of faltered in the first 2012 debate against Mitt Romney. Karen Dunn was basically the person who turned to him and said, you need to speak faster and you need to have a less like academic professor-esque tone. And to which Obama apparently replied, so I need to be hammy. Because he didn't really like having like a casual tone as president, which led Karen Dunn to coin the phrase that when she needed him to speak, you know, in a more familiar tone and less formally, she would tell him that she needed the ham and cheese delivery, which I love.
Yeah.
But to discuss the woman herself, in 2016, obviously we have Hillary Clinton versus Donald Trump. Their debate was watched by a record 84 million people. Oh. And as she had since 2008, and she continued to do through Kamala Harris's presidential campaign, the debate prep was led by Karen Dunn, who is a Washington lawyer, a very powerful Washington lawyer. Basically, the New York Times has said of her, she possesses the rare ability to tell them what they are doing wrong and how to fix it, and how to inject humor and humanity to sell themselves to voters watching the debate. Hillary Clinton has praised her for her tough love approach, which I cannot imagine the idea of giving Hillary Clinton, quote, tough love.
Tough love.
She, at the same time that she was prepping Kamala Harris for her debate in September 2024, she was also representing Google in an antitrust case, which shows like how linked industry and politics are in the States, but also is like, what a career, what a woman. I mean, you know, it's pretty usual for lawyers to, on a kind of personal basis, volunteer for political campaigns. But a little bit about Karen Dunn's specific history. She was hired in 1999 as the second employee on Hillary Clinton's 2000 Senate campaign.
Wow.
And then
so she's been there from the...
She's been around for a long time. And she then ultimately ended up being communications director in Hillary Clinton's Senate office.
Right.
It was only after that she went to Yale Law School.
That's so interesting.
Yeah. And yeah, as I said, she ended up prepping Obama for debates, and she also ended up working for Obama in the White House counsel's office as a kind of Ainsley Hayes-esque figure, but just minus the Republicanism. And she says about presidential debates, in order to have a moment in a debate, you have to actually engage with another person on the stage in a way that is in some regard a challenge to that other person. If somebody comes after you and you counterpunch effectively, you can win that moment. If you're the so-called frontrunner and somebody punches you and you counterpunch and win the exchange, then you own that moment.
Has she got a book, do we know?
I don't believe she does.
I bet she's got enough for a book.
She is obsessive. That was the word used by the New York Times. She is obsessive about avoiding leaks from debate prep. She doesn't let people email debate prep materials or transfer them electronically in every way. Everything has to be printed and then destroyed.
Wow. I love that.
She helped Hillary Clinton find some of her best debate moments. And I think it's a general consensus that like Hillary Clinton did not lose the 2016 election because she lost the debates. It was Karen Dunn's idea that she bring up in a debate comments Donald Trump had made about a beauty pageant contestant's weight. She said in the debate, he called this woman Miss Piggy, then he called her Miss Housekeeping because she was Latina. Donald, she has a name. Ooh. This like visually threw Trump off. He tried to interrupt, saying, "Where did you find this?" She then continued, Hillary Clinton continued, her name is Alicia Macado, and she has become a U.S. citizen, and you can bet she's going to vote this November.
Wow, what a kind of playing the ace moment.
And that became the signature moment of that debate. Like Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton also had her own stand-in for Donald Trump, Philippe Reines, who was a longtime staffer for her in the Senate. And he essentially, when he was asked to do this, when he was asked to play Trump in Hillary Clinton's debate prep, he took 3 months leave from his job, went completely into like, I am a method actor. He bought 4 podiums, 2 for his personal home and 2 for where the debate prep was happening. He also bought a Donald J. Trump signature collection watch on his own personal dime and experimented with self-tanning lotion to just really give the full effect.
It's very method actor.
He Velcroed knee pads to keep his legs straight so that he could approximate Donald Trump's way of standing. And he also bought shoes with 3-inch lifts so he'd be the same height as Donald Trump.
Wow.
And got his tailor to fit him in like a loose-fitting suit, like how Donald Trump likes to wear his tailoring.
It's really, it's giving Daniel Day-Lewis.
Thank you. And he was so panicked about any of this getting leaked that he bought a bag with a combination lock and a GPS tracker for when he was carrying it back and forth to debate prep. He watched all of the primary debates 3 times to really immerse himself in like Trump's mannerisms, his way of phrasing things. But ultimately, we know what happened in the debates, which is that Hillary Clinton basically won on the merit of the debates. But also Donald Trump was just kind of looming behind her for large portions of the debate, which she went on to write about in her book, What Happened, which obviously you saw me devour in the aftermath of the 2016 election. Yeah. But she is quoted as reflecting on those debates. "This is not okay, I thought. It was the second presidential debate and Donald Trump was looming behind me. 2 days before, the world heard him brag about groping women. Now we were on a small stage and no matter where I walked, he followed me closely, staring at me, making faces. It was incredibly uncomfortable. He was literally breathing down my neck. My skin crawled. It was one of those moments when you wish you could hit pause and ask everyone else watching, well, what would you do? Do you stay calm and keep smiling and carry on as if he weren't repeatedly invading your space? Or do you turn, look him in the eye and say loudly and clearly, back up, you creep, get away from me. I know you love to intimidate women, but you can't intimidate me, so back up."
Wow.
And I feel in 2026, with where we know Trump ended up, I feel like you would do that. You would actually say that to him on a debate stage. But we were still trying to operate within normal rules in 2016.
Yeah. Very different world.
A completely different world. Trump kind of lost it during the 2020 debates with Joe Biden because he just kept going mad and interrupting Joe Biden to the point where Joe Biden ended up turning around to him and saying, "Will you shut up, man?" Which was the moment of the 2020 debates.
Yeah.
Of course, we all know that in 2022, the Republican National Committee voted to remove itself from the Presidential Debate Commission because they felt that it was partisan and unfair towards Republicans. There is also probably like a really fair argument to be made about the fact that ultimately debates historically have happened too late for where we are now in the world with early voting and things. The debates did need to be happening sooner. And the commission was not adapting with the times for that.
Right.
And so in 2024, the debates were organized not by the commission, but by CNN in the initial instance, and then by ABC. Obviously, we know what happened in the 2024 debate between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. I don't know that it's something that any of us need to relive or relitigate in any way.
No, I don't think so.
And, ultimately, I think Kamala Harris worked with the same Philippe Reigns as Donald Trump, worked with Karen Dunn, who we've seen as, a kind of genius at these things. She was also kind of handling a situation in which Donald Trump was repeatedly making racist comments about her, gossiping about her love life and her past relationships. It was an impossible thing to prepare for. And she really did try to kind of change it up from the way that Biden had approached Trump and the way that Hillary Clinton had approached Trump. Biden had really focused on him as a threat to democracy, whereas she tried to focus on him being of a past generation, being, like a tired act.
Yeah.
And, a rich guy who ultimately only cares about rich guys. Hillary Clinton tried to categorize him as a racist and a misogynist, whereas clearly he still won with that messaging. So Kamala Harris wasn't trying to basically litigate Donald Trump's character as good or bad, because ultimately people are not going to be moved on
voting.
that at this point. She really just tried to connect with undecided voters on the economy and their finances that they were worried about, and, trying to focus on how to improve their lives. I honestly feel like she and her team did everything they possibly could.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting to see, because obviously we had to have rule changes. Basically, the debates between Joe Biden and Donald Trump in 2020 were seen as some of the least professional and least informative debates that there had been, because the moderator basically couldn't get a word in edgeways because Donald Trump was interrupting so much that nobody could actually get a point across.
Yeah.
And so there was a whole issue in 2024 about, people's mics are going to be muted when it's not their turn to speak and all of this kind of thing. So it'll be interesting to see where presidential debates end up in 2028, because I'm really even struggling to imagine that far in the future at this point.
Nope, right there with you.
And I don't think that presidential debates are ever going to look again like what they looked like in the world until now.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope we get to see Jed and Richie's debate.
We have to, right? Surely.
I'd kind of love it to just be one episode.
Ooh, but like with the team backstage, like reacting and it's also the night that Andrea is giving birth. No, that doesn't make sense timeline-wise, but fine.
But we will have fun with things like that happening.
Yeah.
Leigh, that was so good. I'm fired up and ready for the debates now. Debate single, actually.
Yeah, debate single.
Shall we meet up next week and discuss again the following episode?
Please. We are Queer Gals Watch, wherever you get your socials. queergalswatch@gmail.com if you want to send us a little email. I'm back in the business of looking for study session requests. And we also just like hearing from you. It's nice to know who you are out there. We're Queer Gals Watch on Patreon as well, which we really appreciate everyone who supports us on there, because that's how we pay to make this podcast. And we'll see you next time.
We'll see you next time. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.